how do more women get into senior military leadership roles?
Well, that is interesting. Looking back, to the 70s, I think people would expect a different demographic. About 10% of the generals in the Air Force are women. So we're balanced that way. But even the diversity in our senior ranks all across the board isn't what you'd think. And this is what I think the Department of Defense is wrestling with right now. The pyramids, the way we come up, haven't maybe changed. You can bring in, the Academy looks like America. It's fabulous. They're beautiful. In fact, what's great about our country is it's so blended. The boxes don't work anymore. To check the box of your racial background, it's like we have kids with 4 or 5 different traditions. They're proud of all of them. And if you look at them, you don't really know. And so that's great. But the senior ranks haven't been, and that's been a conundrum, I think. But I think when the machine, you can change the input, but if the machine stays the same, the output's going to look about the same. And so it's difficult. I wish people wouldn't self-eliminate because things can work out. Now I'm an older parent, so it happened to work out that way. And I married later, and we didn't try to have children until later. But my husband, coincidentally, hit 20 years of service as a pilot in the Air Force the day after the boys were born. So he retired, and so my husband he's a Eagle Scout, Outward Bound, Virginia military graduate, electrical engineer, flight test engineer, a pilot, and the liaison to the Marines. So he felt like he was qualified to be a stay-home dad. And that worked out. That's kind of the benefit of being an older parent, so he retired. But if people want to do it the normal way, that doesn't work out that way as well. There are ways to work through it. I know the Air Force has started with programs to give people sort of a sabbatical internally to try to work things out. And Secretary Carter has talked about a more permeable and modern future force. And just, I hope we can get to that. But in the midst of it, I think, is to not, again, self-eliminate for the wrong reasons when, there's a way to work through things. And again, the great thing is performance does pay off. And I'm not saying it hasn't been difficult along the way, but everyone's got a journey, right? Everybody's had some adversity, and if we could just give them the context and the confidence, and then to have great, my husband is a fabulous partner, and that's partly how we survive as a family. It gives me confidence to go forward, but there are different ways to solve it. I just think we need some more flexibility, and it's really hard to have lateral entry in the military, but I think we could be more vibrant for it if we could bring expertise like you have in here to come across, especially in areas like cyber, and try to solve problems in really collaborative ways. We'll benefit from that, and I think that'll help everyone because men want to have families too, and so back in the day in the 80s. A lot of times the generals and the colonels would retire and lament that, well, I don't really know my kids, my wife raised them, and I thought, wow, is that what I'm supposed to aspire to? And now dads want to be dads, and they want to be able to go to a soccer game, and it's difficult to manage, but it's great for the core to stay together. So it's men and women who care, and we have same-sex partners now, right? So it's not just about the women's spouses all the time. So I just think we need to modernize our system more, but also not self-eliminate, because sometimes we're harder on ourselves than we ought to be.